Okay, we are just getting started with the Meal Prep for One workshop. I'm Talia from Workweek Lunch. I'm the founder of Workweek Lunch, and I'm really excited for you to be here. If you're watching the replay, thank you. And basically, this is how this is going to go. I am going to walk you through the whole process of meal prepping for one from start to finish. Okay, so that's from planning to cooking to eating and even beyond what to do. Uh, During this session, you can ask questions. I encourage, Jessica is here from the Working Lunch team. She is manning the chat. She'll yell at me if there's any questions, but I can see them too. And if you're watching the recording, thank you. If you're here live, we are doing a giveaway at the end of this, so you get to win something fun and also sharing a code to the Working Lunch Meal Prep program. So thank you for being here. And I'm really excited to get into it because meal prep for one is one of those concepts that seems to be confusing for some people. Why would you cook a bunch of food for just one person when you can just cook random meals to yourself or whatever? And I would love to ask you guys right off the bat, do you live by yourself or are you cooking for one in a shared kitchen? That's definitely something I want to know from those watching, because I think that does change things. And I want to tailor this workshop to you to make sure it's the most helpful for you. So tell me in the chat, are you living alone, cooking alone, or are you cooking alone but living with other people? Because I know that's a thing. Me, myself, and I, all three of us live alone, cooking alone. So yeah, I also live alone and cooking alone. I started this journey living alone, cooking alone. And then I had a partner for a while. We lived together, cooking together. And now I'm back alone and it's lovely. I do have to say, since this is singles night, cooking for one is so much easier than cooking for two. It is so much faster. It's just dealing with your own taste can be hard enough. When you throw in another person, it's even harder. So we really have it easy. And I'm going to help you reduce waste, save money and save time, and figure out how to cook things you'll actually eat, which are the biggest challenges. So it seems like most people are living alone and cooking alone. Cooking for one in a family kitchen. Yep, and you're the only one interested in meal prep. That's tough. When you are shared a kitchen and you're the only one interested in meal prep, it means that you have to kind of commandeer the kitchen and just close it down for a whole session, and we'll get into that later. But that is a challenge in and of itself. Sharing fridge space, I mean, that's really tough. So we're gonna get into all of it. Living with a partner on totally different meal plans, that sounds wild. Wow, okay. So I wanna just touch on some of the challenges like we've been getting into. I think the biggest thing with meal prepping for one is figuring out portion sizes, right? It seems like recipes make way too much, and you're left over with so much food. You don't want to eat the same thing 5 times. You get bored, you're not in the mood for it. Or you cook a smaller batch of meals, but then you find yourself with a pile of odds and ends of vegetables that you don't know how to use up. It's portions, it's like the trickiest thing. So we're gonna get into that. Okay. Yeah, Jessica, thank you. Make sure your chat is set to everyone. Anyway, so yeah, portion sizes, we're gonna get into that. And this is all kind of connected, right? Because if you get your portions right, that means that when I say right, I mean you're finishing your meals, right? Not like there is a right amount to eat for everyone, because again, we do not talk about diet stuff here. We're not talking about weight loss or anything here. But when I say right, I just mean like success. You've completed your meal preps, you've eaten them all, congratulations. So getting the portions right means that you are eating everything that you bought, which means you're not wasting food and you're not wasting money. Sounds like a great time. And so I'm going to help you figure that out. Okay, I have notes down here. That's why I'm looking down. So like I said, I want to walk you through the whole process. So I'm literally like, so tomorrow, if you are making your meal plan tomorrow, which I recommend doing it on Fridays, you know what to do. And so we're going to look at the planning first. So who here plans meals? Tell me in the comments, yes or no. Do you plan your meals? Meaning, do you look ahead into the future with your, magic ball and figure out what you want, what you're in the mood for, and plan ahead? Seems like sometimes yes. Okay, cool. No, wish I did. Okay, maybe this will inspire you. Here's the thing about meal planning. You don't have to do it every week. And this is the thing about all of your food habits and routines. You don't have to do it every week. You're off the hook, okay? You can only meal plan when it makes sense to you, when you have a lot of things coming up. Some weeks, just leave it open. right? Give yourself a break. You don't have to do this every week. So I made a little slideshow for you guys. I'm going to share my screen. There it is. There she is. Okay. Let's make this. Oh gosh. Okay, here we go. So this is what not to do, okay? When you're making a meal plan for one, you do not want to plan every single meal for every single day. Also, by the way, Jessica, I can't see the chat in this view, so if there are questions, please shout them to me. Don't plan every single meal every single day. This view, by the way, is our Work Week Lunch planner in the Work Week Lunch meal prep program, and this is the new version, so this probably looks unfamiliar to you if you are a member. This is coming out next week, so a little sneak peek for you. But yeah, this is what you don't want to do. And I think this is like the urge. We want to meal plan breakfast, lunch, dinner every single day of the week. And there's a reason why there are 6 days on this meal planner, because I don't want you to meal plan every meal up every day. You really need to leave space. When it comes to meal prepping for one, less is more. So don't do this. I don't want your meal planner to ever look like this. There's no reason to, and it's unrealistic. You're not going to eat everything. You're not even going to cook everything. There are 5 recipes on this meal plan. It's ridiculous. This is what your meal planner should look like for one. Less is more. There are 3 recipes on this grid, right? We have overnight oats, this salmon orzo thing, and a soup. And this is very strategic, okay? Like, basically there's a lot of space in here so that if this was my meal plan and if I had a friend wanted to get dinner, or if I wasn't in the mood for soup, or if there was a random event, or if I just wasn't hungry and all I wanted to do was eat cereal, I don't have to throw out any of my meal preps, or I don't really have to force myself to eat a meal prep if I'm not in the mood for it or if something comes up. Less is more. If, sorry, I'm looking at my notes. Right. Also, you want to focus on your struggle meals. So if there's a meal in your week where you can never get it together, for me, it used to be dinner. I used to eat peanut butter and crackers for dinner after work. I'd come home at like 9 o'clock from my office job in the entertainment industry, and I would just like eat peanut butter and crackers, and I would just feel really bad. And it was just never satisfying, but it was all I had energy. What if I meal prep dinners? It would have been so much better. I would have been so grateful for my weekend self who was taking care of my work week self. So think about the meals that you have a hard time coming up with on the fly, or if you forget to eat lunch because you have to like go through the process of ordering lunch or making it and it's like too much work. Just do that meal. When I started meal planning, I think I just did 1 burrito bowl for the week, and I ate that 4 times for lunches or maybe some dinners. So again, less is more. Leave lots of space. It's going to feel a lot better. It's way more realistic. It's way more doable, and you're not going to waste food this way. Any questions here while I move on to the next thing?
No questions in the chat so far.
Thank you. Okay. Okay, I'm going to get out of this because we don't need this anymore. Okay, I'm back. So that's the planning process. And I recommend sitting down tomorrow. I love meal planning on Fridays. So we can do this together in spirit, right? Sitting down and looking at your calendar. What do you have next week? Do you have any breakfast meetings, lunch things, dinner dates? You know, are you going out with your friends? Is there a restaurant you want to try? Are there events? Those are not the meals you're going to plan for, right? Fill in the gaps. What are the meals that you know you are going to be eating between meetings, or you have to rush out for a doctor's appointment in the morning, you need to eat something for breakfast. Those are the meals that you're going to want to focus on. But what do you actually cook? So the next thing is choosing recipes. And I want to ask you, what is the hardest part for you about choosing recipes? Tell me in the chat. I know for me, what is the hardest part for me about choosing recipes? I think I just feel like I have too many options sometimes, and I have a hard time deciding because there's just like literally so many things I can make. But I'm going to help you narrow it down a little bit. Okay, some people in the chat are tuning in. Figuring out what I want to eat. Too many ingredients. Having the right ingredients. Everything looks time consuming. Ain't that the truth? Mood, time, what I have on hand. Okay, great. We're all on the same page here. These are all very challenging. I'm a beginner. Okay, we have we have some health and medical concerns as well. Awesome. And yeah, look, these are real. And I'm going to say right now, I don't think these challenges will ever truly disappear. But I think that trying out some of these strategies will help you navigate the challenges so they're a little bit easier, right? And they're less challenging. So here's the first thing I want you to do when you're choosing ingredients, which will save you a lot of money, is to look in your pantry. I have a bunch of my pantry ingredients here with me. I have that I pulled out: farro, chickpeas, lentils, spaghetti. Okay, it's like a big pile of pantry ingredients. Okay, anyway, you get the point. These are so important because these are the building blocks of your meals. When you have these ingredients on hand, you don't have to buy them again, right? They're already in your pantry. Like I have diced tomatoes. You can make so many different things just with these 2 ingredients. You know what I mean? You can make a soup, you can make a stew, you can make a pasta thing. I mean, you could probably make a quesadilla somehow. My talent is turning anything into a quesadilla. So I think, again, you want to have things in your pantry that last. What is the big, oh yeah, thank you. So also I want to show you guys, this is my pasta bucket, okay? These are just like random little boxes and bags of pasta. So I can like go in here and be like, oh, look, I have soba noodles. What can I do with that? Or like, oh, I have udon, couscous. I have egg noodles in here. I mean, this is where you want to start because it does add a little bit of restriction, right? So that you don't feel like there's so many options. Because yeah, you could go to the grocery store and you could buy anything to make any meal with, basically. And that's really, really tough to figure out. So give yourself some restrictions, go open your pantry, go look in your freezer and see what you have and start from there. It'll save you a lot of money too, that way. Sorry, my phone locked over here, okay. Other things to consider: how much energy and time do you have this weekend, right? When you're meal prepping. So for example, this weekend for me, my boyfriend's gone. So I know I'm gonna have a lot of time to meal prep and I'm gonna make it a project and it's probably gonna be like a whole day of cooking, which is my happy place. So, but like last week when we were running around and doing a lot of stuff together, I had an hour, maybe 90 minutes to cook. And it was a very different picture. So look at your weekend, think about how much time and energy you realistically have to meal prep. And that also will inform what recipes you choose or how much you do, right? Again, you don't have to do breakfast, lunch, dinner. You can just prep one recipe and it'll be good. Okay. Also choose recipes that you're comfortable making. Someone said everything takes a lot of time. You know what takes even more time is learning a new recipe when you already feel like you're crunched on time. So don't choose recipes that are full of techniques that you don't really know or ingredients you've never worked with before. Choose things that you feel confident in and it'll go faster. Yeah, I know. And again, that's where there's a line where it's like, if you only choose things you've already made a bunch, you'll get bored. So I would say when you're looking at recipes, make sure they have 1 or 2 things you're already familiar with, and then add in a couple unfamiliar techniques or ingredients. Yeah. Okay. And how do you know what you'll be in the mood for? So this is when I like to give a little bit of tough love. And I want you to know I love you. I love you for being here. I think it's amazing that you want to get better at this. And we should all be getting better at feeding ourselves, getting organized with food so we can move on with our lives and do other things, which is why I love meal prep. But like food boredom is a privilege, right? Like it is something that sometimes you're just going to eat things that you're not into, you're not in the mood for, but you've got to eat, you've got to nourish yourself and you need to move on with your day. And sometimes food is not going to be the highlight of your day. So that's why, again, like you want to prep things that are good enough, but it's not going to be the meal you remember. It's not going to be the meal that you're going to think about like in a year from now and be like, oh, I remember when I had that curry. Like, no, it's okay if it's kind of boring. It's okay if it's just simple. You know, it should be good enough. It should be good enough. And again, this is another reason why we don't prep every meal, because then that would be really miserable. If you're just eating a burrito bowl 3 times a week, that's, you know, you have what, 21 meals a week. That's just 3 meals of your week. And you can eat out, you can make random meals. Like but those 3 burrito bowls will still help you on your busy work days, you know? It's true. It's true. I see you guys are agree. Yeah, it's like, that's why when I see comments on my Instagram, like, oh, I get so bored. And it's like, yeah, that's kind of part of life sometimes. It's like we don't all have access to a personal chef who has access to like every ingredient. It just sometimes you're just gonna have to eat things that are in front of you, and then because you need to have energy to do your day and do your job and be a person. And again, we want it to be good enough. We don't want it to be like really bland. This is part of why we have these recipes in the Working on Meal Prep program, in my cookbook, which by the way is right here, that are simple and fast, but not so complex that they're going to take up your whole day to make. Okay, moving on to the next thing. Any questions about choosing recipes? I guess my last comment on like food you'll be in the mood for, I'm working on like a new resource for this, but there are recipes and meals that you will always be in the mood for. It's just a matter of like keeping them in front of your face when you're meal planning so you remember what they are. I know sometimes it's like you sit down to write your meal plan, it's like, what do I like? What do I eat? Recipes that are better for reheating versus not. So I would say all of the recipes on our website, which are free and in the program and in my cookbook, are made for meal prepping. So like I would start with, again, if you're not a member, start with our free recipes because they are literally made for reheating. And any other meal prep blog out there, there are a lot of them that's what you want to go for this purpose. Someone said, do you choose recipes that are just a certain number of servings? We're about to talk about that. How do you meal prep without recipes, just using ingredients on hand? That's a great question. And it's something I'm going to do another workshop on, but which is like more about template meals. And I would say the short answer is learning cooking techniques so that you know how to prepare the same ingredients like 5 different ways because you know different cooking techniques, if that makes sense. And so that's why I always tell people like you can get a whole cooking education for free on YouTube. I took classes, in New York City, and that helped me so much because once you know how to prepare something in a lot of different ways, I mean, gosh, the options are endless, right? So it's really about your skills. Okay. Thank you, Jessica. Okay, the next thing I want to talk about is portions. So Darcy, you had a question about portions, and this is the hardest part, right? How much do you make? Because like if this is your average size, this is like an average size meal prep. How do you know what's going to fit in here? What's going to be enough for you? What's going to be satisfying, right? There's a lot of different factors here. So I would say my best advice for this, if you are not a member of our program, is to go online, and I have a little share screen here. There's so many recipes out there online. Where's my PDF? There it is. Okay. Oh, sorry. Let me back up. What I found over meal prep, like just in my experience of just doing this for years and years, is that the magic number of times you can repeat a meal and still like it is 3, right? The first time you eat it, you're excited. The second time you're like still kind of excited. And the third time you're happy it's the last time you're eating that meal, but you're not over it yet. So that's why all of our recipes, including recipes in the cookbook, usually make 3 servings. And if they make more than 3 servings, they're probably freezer friendly. So just saying 3 is the magic number that I found. You can let me know in the comments if you agree or disagree. I know some people can't even repeat things twice, but if you're meal prepping for one, especially if you're meal prepping for one, you're going to need to figure out how to enjoy repeating meals. So let's just say you're not a member of our program, you don't have the cookbook, you're not using Workweek Lunch, fine, cool. There are so many ways to do this. Go online, if you find any recipe with 6 servings, like these 2 have 6 servings, have it, make 3. Easy peasy. A lot of recipes out there these days have this thing. You can see that the 6 on the stuffed peppers recipe is like has a little underline. That means you can click it and you can change it to 3. And it'll just automatically have all the ingredients. So that's a really easy hack to make any ingredient suitable for meal prep for one. Same goes for meal prep recipes that make 4 servings. If you have it, it's probably good. Again, back to our rule that less is more. If it makes 4 and you have it down to 2, I'm sure you can stretch it to 3, right? You can just have it twice. So that's the hack for just using any recipe on the internet. Having it is going to be a great option for meal prepping for one. Any questions on portions? I'm happy to talk about this more. Okay, so you guys are saying 3 is the magic number. Yeah, you can give one away. So again, for portions, like if you are new to meal prep, I recommend going to the grocery store, buying containers that are plastic, like those Ziploc or Glad containers, to test out what portion size containers work for you. Because the glass ones are more expensive. They're better, I would say. They're better for a bunch of reasons that have nothing to do. Like plastic is safe. Glass is safe, plastic is safe. But like glass, it just feels better to eat out of. But anyway, you want to go start with the cheap ones, see what sizes work for you, then invest in some glass containers. Don't just dive in with this. That's what I did. And I found that about 30 ounces, which is like of 2.5 cups of food, was perfect for me. But again, we're all different. So test it out, try it out. A lot of this comes with trial and error. Glass, oh yeah, I was gonna recommend, I love these, this is Pyrex. I love these Pyrex containers. I'll send them to you tomorrow when I send this recording and everything else. But these are, I've had these for like 6 years. The tops are a little cracked, but so it goes. Yeah, we love Pyrex. Okay. Moving right along, we're gonna talk about shopping, okay? So I want to hear from you. How do you make your shopping list? Do you do it by hand? Is it a notes app on your phone? Are you using the Work with Lunch meal prep program? How do you make your shopping list? Share in the comments. I use an Excel spreadsheet. Okay, someone say by hand. By hand, a lot of by hand. Guys, by hand is dangerous. Okay, I used to do by hand and I used to like have to take a picture of it because I would forget it. By hand, oh man, that's a lot. Okay, I love it. Notes app, yeah. So my Excel spreadsheet, I love it because, well, it's a Google sheet. So basically I make my meal plan on the computer within Google Sheets and then it automatically updates to the Google Sheets app on my phone. Notepad, okay, great. Awesome. So for shopping for meal prep for one, this is where, again, we're focusing on saving money, reducing waste. We all know, go into the grocery store with a list, right? I allow myself one impulse buy per trip. If I want more than one thing that's like an impulse buy, I just say I can come back and get it later. And sometimes I do, sometimes I don't, but it helps me save money to know that I can have it. It's not like, I'm not like restricting myself, just like one per shop. If I can't stop thinking about like goji berries, I don't know, I'll go get the goji berries. Not that I've ever purchased that. Okay. So, right. Okay. I want to talk about vegetables and vegetable sizes, because that's another thing where people get tripped up for meal prep for one. All of our recipes are made for the shopping experience. So that means like, instead of saying a cup of chopped bell pepper, we say 1 pepper. Why? Because you don't know what a cup of chopped bell pepper looks like in the store. They don't sell it that way. So that's why, again, I think with vegetables, there's a lot of leeway. You don't need to get the perfectly sized vegetable every single time. Go for the medium-sized vegetables when you're shopping. Also, another rule I like to follow for meal prepping for one, you get 1 herb. Okay, don't buy a bunch of herbs. You're not going to use them all. We all have these like beautiful pipe dreams of using up the bunches of parsley and cilantro, dill. Just get 1. This is a rule I've been following all year. This is cilantro and I barely use it up, but get 1 herb. You're more likely to use that up. Okay, so let's talk about back to vegetables. Like if you find that you can only find like a really big thing of mushrooms or a really massive eggplant or a massive cauliflower, I want to remind you that vegetables cook down and shrink a lot. Like you'd be surprised at how much a whole like spinach. Like we all have seen that meme of the whole mound of spinach turning into like this much spinach. The vegetables will cook down, so don't be afraid of getting a larger vegetable if that's all that's available. However, sometimes vegetables are too big. This is half of the sweet potato that my Instacart delivery came with. For one, this is like enough. Like I would buy just this size sweet potato for one. So I'm gonna have to figure out how to use this up. It's been in my fridge for a couple days. It's not bad or anything, but it is left over because I did Instacart instead of going to the store myself and hand picking my own size vegetables. We'll talk about this more later, but I do have like other odds and ends from my Sunday meal prep that I kept just to show you. So like half a cauliflower, half a cucumber, a beet, a couple radishes, a serrano pepper, and some red onion. Like all that can go into a stir fry later, all of this. Another reason to leave meals open in your meal plan is so that you have some space to use up these odds and ends and cook something random if you need that variety. See how it all kind of fits together? Meal prep isn't meant to be this thing where it's like it's not really cook once, eat all week. Eat all week, because we're not robots. We can't predict every single meal. That is miserable. I can make the new sheet pan breakfast with those ingredients. Awesome, noted. Okay. Any other questions about shopping for one? These are my best tips. I'm condensing it down to my best tips so that I'm not like rambling. But again, I'm happy to answer any questions. Trying to see if I said everything I want to say. Because the next thing we're going to talk about is the cooking sesh, right? So at this point, we've planned our meals, we've chosen recipes, we've figured out our portion sizes, and we've gone grocery shopping. And I recommend doing your grocery shopping on Saturday. So you meal plan Friday, shop Saturday, so that you're not doing it all in one day. It's another reason why meal prep is so overwhelming. There's so many steps, and if you try to do this all on Sunday, it's just not going to work. You're not going to do it. Okay. So let's talk about your cooking session. I recommend 3 recipes max per cooking session. That should take you about, depending what they are, it should take you about 3 hours, including cleanup. Okay, it's like a roughly 1 hour per recipe, including cleanup. Most of our recipes take 45 minutes to make. We try and keep them under an hour, but when you're doing a lot all at once, it tends to be stretched out. Oh my God, Gina, you're right on it. We're gonna talk about that next, the component meal prep. But first, the cooking sesh stuff. So you want to ease into it, right? Again, if you have never meal prepped, or if you're out of the routine, if you come back from vacation and you're feeling overwhelmed, just do one thing. Meal prep one thing, one recipe. Don't try to do a bunch of them, just do one. It'll be quick and easy. But if you want to go longer, I highly recommend watching some TV, listening to a podcast, listening to an audiobook, turning on some music, getting a glass of wine or kombucha or something. Make it like you time, especially if you're living alone and you're meal prepping for one, you can spend as much time as you want doing it, and it can be really fun and relaxing. And for me, I'm looking forward to my meal prep session this weekend. I'm gonna cook all weekend, basically, probably. What else? Another tip that I like to remind people of to make it faster is to choose recipes or do something where you're doing one thing on the stove and one thing in the oven, because you can be stirring a pot on the stove while something roasts in the oven, and that way you can multitask a little bit better and make your session even faster. My classic meal prep for one session is going to be something on the oven, something on the stove, something in the oven, and then overnight oats at the end. It takes me 2 hours maybe to do that. Thank you. Right, no cook, middle of cooking, absolutely. Thanks, Jessica. Okay, so I want to go to, let's talk about buffet meal prep versus assembled meals, because like Gina brought up, she asked, do you ever meal prep components, sauces, meats, doughs? And the answer for me is no, but this is what a buffet meal prep is. So if you are someone who you hate repetition, you hate eating the same thing over and over, and you need variety and you get bored and you want to eat on your food mood, great, all power to you. Let me introduce you to the buffet meal prep. So this is when you kind of cook different components and you don't make full meals. You just kind of have these components in their containers throughout the week, and you can build meals as you go. There are pros and cons to this. There's a reason. The reason why I don't do this is one, I don't mind repetition, and I don't want to do extra dishes. Like you have to, you're going to end up with more dishes to do this way throughout the week, which is fine. Again, maybe that's fine. It's worth it to you. Great. The other con to this is that you are less likely to eat everything. Excuse me, you are less likely to eat everything because it's harder to like target how much of each element you're going to need and use that throughout the week. Like maybe you make chicken, or maybe you make this barbecue meal prep that we're seeing on the right here. This is a work week lunch. These are both work week lunch recipes, by the way. And you're really loving the corn fritters, but you're not really into the salad. And then you're going to end up with like, you're going to finish those corn fritters on the first 2 days, and then you're going to end up with all this salad. You know what I mean? Like it's harder to kind of figure out how to use everything up in the right time so that you're not left over with a lot of food. But again, this is a great way to meal prep if you don't have a lot of time and you love variety. Highly recommend. Any questions on buffet prep?
Talia, when you were referring to recipes we can see, did you mean like the slideshow or?
Oh my God, did I forget to share my screen?
Yes, just go ahead and share it.
Yep, I'm gonna do that.
Yeah.
I'm sorry about that, guys. I got so excited about the buffet meal prep. There it is.
It's a very passionate subject.
So passionate about this. Okay, so let me tell you what you're looking at. On the left is our, what is this, our hibachi buffet meal prep, Jessica?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's prepped. It's a buffet prep of some veggies and then fried rice and tofu or chicken, and then like the popular sauces that you'd get from there. Yeah.
It looks so good. And on the right is our barbecue buffet meal prep, which I was referring to. There are corn fritters on the top right, which so good. We did this a few summers ago and it's very good. So yeah, this is what a buffet meal prep looks like for reference. And this is what I do, right? This is what we usually do in the Work Week Lunch meal prep program and on our site in the book, our assembled meals. So these are like you're cooking all the components, but you put it in a container and then that's what you're eating. I love this because you pull it out of the fridge, you stick it in the microwave and you're on your way, versus buffet meal prep, you have to like put food on a plate from all the containers. Again, one's not better than the other. It's all about what will make eating and feeding yourself easier for you. That's all we're trying to do here. And technically these meals can be buffet meal prepped. Like for this wrap on the left, like you could just keep the rice and the chicken and the veggies separate the whole time. And in fact, if you're using gluten-free wrap, you would do that because gluten-free wraps are hard. But that, you can use any of our recipes and buffet meal prep by just like not putting them in containers this way. That makes sense? Any questions here?
Nope, no questions. I asked if they're team buffet prep or team assembled meals for the chat.
Okay, awesome. I mean, I think a lot of people are team buffet meal prep in general. Okay, let's talk about, we're gonna have a lot of time at the end for questions. So I'm gonna stop sharing. Okay, so you have done your planning, your shopping, your cooking, and you have your week, you're eating your meals, and then you realize you are not in the mood for your wraps or your stir fry. What do you do? And this is where I want to talk about meal prep insurance, okay? These are going to be the things you keep around in your kitchen, in your freezer, for when you are not in the mood for your meal prep, but you still don't want to work too hard. So I have mine right here. Ooh. So this is my handy dandy box of Trader Joe's meal prep insurance. I have cauliflower gnocchi, I have falafel, I have turkey sausage stuffing fried rice, probably from last year. And I have Blintz's childhood meal alert. So this is my meal prep insurance. I also have Super Cubes. So I've been relying on frozen meal prep a lot lately. So these are things that I've prepped throughout the last couple months and didn't finish or had way too much of, and I stuck it in here. Mystery cubes. These are not mystery cubes. I know what these are. But I highly recommend if you are someone who you meal prep before and you're just continually never in the mood for what you prep, try some freezer friendly meals, pop them in a container or one of these, which by the way, we're going to give away one of these at the end, so stay tuned. Not with food in it. And then you're able to not waste food and you can have an easy meal in the future. The key with freezer meals, by the way, though, is like you have to put them in your meal plan or like set a reminder to eat them, because the freezer becomes a graveyard, right? If you don't actually eat what you're prepping. So I like to make a point in my meal plan. I put in like freezer meal night. And that's when I know I don't have to cook and I can just do a super cube. We have a lot of freezer friendly recipes. I think meal prepping for one, your freezer is really important because it's likely you're going to make something that you have way too much of or you're just not in the mood for. So if you prep freezer friendly things, put it in the freezer, you won't waste money on it, you won't waste your food, and you live happily ever after. Sometimes I put things in I didn't like the first time in the freezer, then I don't like them the second time and curse my past self. You know what, that happens? Like that has happened to me too. And a lot of this with food is trial and error. Like you're not going to want the same things all the time. You're not going to need the same amount of food every day. It's impossible to have a perfect week every week when it comes to like finishing your meals. It's tough, you know, that's a gamble of trying new recipes. Okay, so I want to talk about the last thing we're going to cover, which is like kind of a big section, is what are the recipes that work best for one person? What do we actually make? So I'm going to share my screen for real. And we're going to go through some of my personal favorite recipes for one. Again, I've been doing this for 7 years and I have a lot of, okay, so this is my all-time favorite, all-star MVP of the team is my salmon, green veggie, potato, or rice. Boring, but so good. I always crave this meal. I'm always in the mood for this meal. Again, I know it's boring, but you can do the salmon in so many different ways. You can do like a honey mustard, you can do a teriyaki, you can do a pesto, you could do a lemon. I mean, there's just so many ways. Obviously, you could do tofu too if you're vegan. Hands down, easiest meal. I have this recipe in my cookbook. I don't think we have a couple of recipes like this in the program, but the main one is in the cookbook because I was like, this has to go in. I can't make a meal prep cookbook without including this recipe. Yeah, any questions on this? And yes, you can meal prep salmon. I know it's a little dangerous, but like dangerous in terms of like not like food safety. I mean, like people, it's a little polarizing, but I've been doing it for years. Okay, the next one, burrito bowls, another classic. MVP would always eat this. This one's one of the easiest things you can make. Like you can use rotisserie chicken. You can use just black beans and frozen corn and rice. You can use like the ready rice. You know, you barely have to cook this to make it, and it's still really good. Cheaper than Chipotle, likely better for you in a lot of ways than Chipotle, but again, not knocking that. If that's what you want. I'm just saying you have more control in the kitchen over the nutrients. And yeah, it's just reliable. We're just going for the easy, reliable ones. Again, nothing mind-blowing here. It's not going to be the best meal of your life, but it's going to be good. Orzo skillets. Who here has tried an orzo skillet? Would love to know. They are a Whirpy Crunch staple. We have like, I would say 10 of these recipes that are all the same. This is a template recipe where basically you cook sausage in a pan and you cook it with orzo and you add vegetables and other flavors to make it different. I am obsessed. Jessica, are people saying they've had it?
A lot of love for the orzo skillets. Yeah.
I can't see the chat, so yeah, let me know.
Some love for the mushroom one in the cookbook. So yes.
Yeah. Oh yeah. The cookbook does have a mushroom orzo skillet because again, I could not have the cookbook without a skillet. Okay, so orzo, by the way, is a pasta. If you don't know what it is, it looks like a rice, but it's small and it cooks really quickly in a pan and it plays well with a lot of different flavors. These aren't really saucy dishes. They're kind of on the drier side for a pasta, but I think that's part of why they work really well for meal prep, and that's part of why you can make them. It's hard to screw this one up, except you do have to make sure that your pan is very low and make sure that your orzo doesn't stick to the bottom. But again, love these meals. And it's also really easy to control the portion size of this, right? Like, you know, you only need, I forget what our standard is. I should probably look. I think it's like a cup of orzo, maybe. I'm not sure, for 3 meals.
It might be like 3/4 a cup, I think. But yeah, it's something.
It should be something like that, like almost a cup for 3 portions. By the way, when in doubt, guys, like if you don't know how much a portion of pasta is, just look on the box. Like spaghetti is 2 ounce per serving. So if you're going to make 3 meals, you would make about 6, maybe 8 ounces. I would do a little more, but you know what I mean? That's kind of a good guideline. Okay, soups. Obviously, soup really easy for meal prep. It's usually one pot. Usually throw everything in the pot, just let it boil. Like this is the laziest prep you can do. And there's so many different ways you can make soup. I mean, it's literally endless. So I usually do, like I have in this picture, ginger rice soup, which I made last year when I had food poisoning and it saved my life. I have lasagna soup on the top right. There's like a lentil curry soup on the middle there and a tomato soup on the left. These are all in the Working Lunch Meal Prep program, and we have a bunch of free ones too. But I think, again, because soup is freezer friendly, and you can't really do much to it in terms of like changing it up if you need variety, but at least you can freeze it if you get bored. Salad. So I think salads are a great way to use up odds and ends of vegetables. Like I showed you earlier, my random container of cucumber, beet, radish, red onion, and this pepper, I could throw that all in a salad, right? Just bed of greens, a protein, and we're good to go. But I would say these salads, my favorite salad is going to be like a kale, like the one on the left. It's like kale and apples, radishes, cheese. I have a sweet potato in there. I would add protein to it. And on the right, I think I have like a carrot, apple, cucumber. I just love apple in salads. Yeah. So always in the mood for this. I wouldn't say it's always the most satisfying. I usually need to eat this with bread or something on the side, or like I eat chips or something. But again, I always look forward to this. Breakfast burritos for any time of the day. Okay, you don't need to only eat breakfast burritos for breakfast. I personally feel like they're too much food for me in the morning. So I would eat a breakfast burrito for dinner more likely. These are all in the program, but yeah, again, another really easy one you can change up. You can add any vegetables, any protein, cheese, no cheese, rice, beans, no rice, like just play with it. You're not going to screw it up. It's really hard to, like, everyone worries about mixing and matching vegetables, but it's really hard to, like, they all go together, in a way. Hear me out, they do. Any questions on the last few recipes?
Nope. Someone just commented that the lasagna soup is fabulous.
Though. It is really good.
And I will say, I think burritos are an elite food, especially
an elite food. Yes. Okay, so curries and stir fries with rice. I think rice is life. Like I will eat rice every week. I'll eat rice every day. Rice is just, I'm so happy I have like a 25-pound bag from Costco right now. I feel rice rich. It's great. And I think it's a great vehicle for meal prep. It is safe to reheat for anyone watching. I have that shirt. I'm not wearing it. It's safe to reheat. It's easy to prep. Takes 20 minutes. You don't even have to touch the pot. It's super. It's just reliable. Just don't forget to add salt. On the top, I have like a tofu, broccoli, pepper, corn stir fry of some. I think that's actually quinoa underneath it. And then on the bottom, I have my mango chicken curry, which is divine. Like it's so good. Yeah, but again, I think curry is a great vehicle for any vegetable, any protein. You can use coconut milk or you can make it tomato based. There's a lot of different ways to change it up and it reheats really well. Curry is one of those meals that gets better overnight in the fridge, like with the flavors. Tacos. So this is another fun one. Tacos are great. Like tacos are more of a buffet meal prep moment where you are going to keep the tortillas and filling separate until you eat. So this is a great dinner option if you're someone who wants the variety and like you can build your tacos with whatever you want, but like prep some salsa, prep some protein, have some fruit, prep a crema or like a sauce, like you can build it as you go. But I would always be excited to eat tacos. I think most of us would be. So don't forget that you can meal prep these. Last but not least, lasagna. So why I love lasagna for one is because it does freeze really well. I would not recommend meal prepping an entire lasagna for the week. That's way too many servings unless you just eat really big meals, fine. For me, that would be like 6 servings, way too many. So I like to freeze it in those 2-cup super cubes you can see on the left, and you just pop that in the oven, reheat it, so nice. And on the right is I think it's like a ravioli lasagna, right?
Yeah, our ravioli lasagna bake.
Yeah, and in the middle is our eggplant and zucchini lasagna, which I am definitely making soon because I have a bunch of random open boxes of lasagna noodles in my pantry. Like they need to be used up, so definitely making that soon. Okay, so I want to talk about really quick meals that I would not recommend for one, because there are definitely a few. And you might have noticed certain things are missing from my list. And I would say the number one thing I don't like for meal prep for one is massive casseroles, for the reason why I kind of mentioned, like, it's just so much. Whenever I make like a done with baked pasta or a baked ziti, it's like just, or mac and cheese, it's just like too much of the same. And they're really hard to repurpose. So I would say save the casseroles for yes. That's just me though. Snack boxes, I tend to get bored of pretty quickly. As for meal prep for one, again, just me. Burgers or meatballs, I think those are hard to meal prep for one because you usually end up with like a lot of patties or a lot of meatballs to finish for one person, especially if you're using a pound of meat. Because if you use half a pound of meat, like what are you going to do with the extra pound? Right? Sorry, the extra half pound. It usually comes in a pound package. So then you have this like extra meat to use up. It's hard, it's tough. And enchiladas, same deal with the casserole, just a lot of enchiladas. Unless you can make a mini pan, like a mini enchilada situation, usually it's like a big casserole and it's just so much enchiladas. Those are the ones for me that I don't like to prep for one. All right, we're gonna wrap up in a little bit. I would love to hear from you because we're kind of ending. What has been the most helpful thing in the last 45 minutes that we have covered? Tell me in the comments. This is our giveaway question. So if you want to enter to win a super cube from me, please answer the question. What has been the most helpful tip? And Jessica is going to pick a random winner from the comments in a couple minutes after you guys have answered to win that. And you can email us and we'll get your address and send it. So thank you. All right.
Answers are coming in hot.
Yeah, I cannot recommend these enough. I think Michelle, the founder, sent them to me, and they sat in my pantry for a year before I used them, and now I cannot stop using them. So I love them, and I really would love to hear what you find helpful in this, because I think this is such an important topic that I haven't really gone into that much on Instagram or really anywhere else. So I just appreciate you being here. All right, so Jessica, I would say maybe in like a minute, you can randomly scroll through and pick a winner.
My mom just asked if she can pick for me, but I'm not gonna let.
Who?
My mom just asked.
Oh, your mom?
If she could pick for me.
And in the meantime, I want to let you guys know that for the Work Week Lunch Meal Prep program, if you're interested, we have a code for you. It is valid until Monday. The code is Meal Prep 1, 20% off any plan, just for you and people who are watching the replay. Yeah, it's if you are a current member, former member, or you've never been a member, you can use this code, and Jessica can help you if you have issues applying it. Thank you, Jessica. Okay. So, any winners so far?
Sorry, I was just adding something to the chat. So I'm picking one winner, correct?
Yeah.
Let's see. There's a lot of great answers. I'm gonna scroll.
This is more of a random, like, close your eyes and pick someone kind of person.
I'm going to close my eyes and randomly scroll. Well, you guys can't see if I'm closing my eyes because I'm not on screen, but
honor system. We have your mom there. She can tell us.
Yeah, yeah. All right. I'm gonna choose. My mom gave me. Okay, she's. All right.
Also, I can't give a code for this, so don't forget, if you don't want a subscription, if you don't need meal plans from us, we have the cookbook. It is all, I think it's on sale right now. It's probably going to be on sale for a while because they ordered a lot of them, and there's a bunch. So get them while they're hot.
All right. The winner for our Super Cubes giveaway, I hope I pronounced your last name correctly, Sam Lesniak.
Pop it in the chat. Thank you, Sam.
I'm gonna go ahead and copy that.
Okay. So Sam, if you could email me giveaway winner. Okay. So Sam, if you could email me, talia@workweeklunch.com with giveaway winner in the subject, we will get you your very own Super Cubes, probably the original color, which I don't have out right now, but it's like a blue color. Okay, great, guys. Well, we have 10 minutes if anyone else has any questions. If not, Thank you for being here. I'm gonna stop recording. And stop sharing.